Well, there. Good evening, my wonderful friends, colleagues, and associates. Welcome to Inspirations for Your Life. It's great to have you here tonight. For those of you that are new, well, starting on Saturday, which is what today is, February 12th, and we end on Friday every week, we have a series. And each night, we talk about a different topic in the area of that specific main topic. So, if you're new, welcome. Grab a seat, make yourself comfortable, take a load off. If you are coming back and you're one of my regular subscribers, well, welcome back. It's always great to have you here and being so loyal. And I hope that some of my new um, people visiting tonight will become my loyal subscribers as well. All right. So, before we get started, you will see there's a QR code in the top right. Just scan that QR code. That'll take you off to my link tree, which has lots of great free information and different motivational things and content that I produce that I think will really improve the quality of your life. So definitely check that out. And if you have not joined John C. Morley, Serial Entrepreneur's LinkedIn page, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and do that after the cast. So show me a little love, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're on Facebook, John C. Morley, Serial Entrepreneur, LinkedIn, John C. Morley, Serial Entrepreneur YouTube page, Twitter, Twitch, or Periscope. Go ahead and show me some love with a like, a support, insight mark, something of that nature. And if you are wondering, what are we talking about tonight? Well, you are just in time. We are talking about what reward will you give yourself? And tonight is the first episode of this series. So, if you ever wondered about a reward, maybe you were trying to accomplish something in your life, but you just didn't do it for whatever reason, has it ever happened to you? It has. Comment below. All right. Now, the reason I wanted to put this together is because a lot of people are very persistent to want to achieve an award, but for whatever reason, they don't achieve it. Let's take something very, very simple. Maybe the reward, maybe the task, I should say, is just to be on time. Maybe some people are always late and they want to be able to be on time. So how could you reward yourself for being on time? Well, when you're on time, you might do something, let's say, nice for yourself. Maybe if you're on time for an entire week, I don't know, maybe you'll book a spa session, okay, or a massage, right? Maybe if you're on time for a week, maybe you'll do something else. Maybe you will take yourself out to a fancy restaurant that you normally don't go to. Maybe if you are trying to um, achieve this and you want to celebrate it, well, maybe a reward could be something else. Um, Maybe it would be taking a trip. So usually the reward has to be in proportion to what you're doing. So if you were to be on time for an entire week, well, that'd be pretty amazing because that would improve your reputation. If you were on time for 2 weeks, maybe that would increase. So maybe the first week, if you did that, maybe you would just, I don't know, take yourself out to dinner somewhere special. If you did it for 2 weeks in a row, maybe you would do something else like get yourself a new piece of clothing or something. If you did it for 3 weeks in a row, well, maybe you would do something fun, like go out to an activity that you normally don't do. And if you did it for a month, well, then you would get to take a trip. Pretty cool, right? So, reward is something that's really important. We're going to be talking about reward all week. You probably remember the case of Pavlov and his dog, right? And so Pavlov had the dog, and if you're wondering what the heck is he talking about, who is Pavlov? All right, well, I guess I have to go back a little further to explain who the heck Pavlov is. It's Ivan Pavlov, and he was a Russian physiologist. He was mostly known for his work in classical conditioning from his early childhood days. And he was able to show us intellectual curiosity with unusual energy. So it was Pavlov and the dog experiment. Okay. Um, and if you remember this, it was with the bell. Okay, so Pavlov um, basically had the dog, and what he did was he gave the dog a treat. Okay, and when he gave the dog the treat, the dog would eat it. But the first thing when he put the treat out there, the dog would salivate. Okay, and so he noticed that, and so he decided to experiment, and he got a little bell, and he put the treat out, but this time he rang the bell, and the dog still salivated. He did that 3, 4, 5 more times, put the treat out, ring the bell. Okay. Now what he did was he didn't present the treat, but he rang the bell, and the dog still salivated. We call that classical conditioning. Now, if you keep doing that and eventually the dog doesn't get the food, well, they'll become unconditioned, right? So, reward is oftentimes the reason to why we stay on track for a goal. Let's take losing weight, for example. If you're doing all these things and you don't see any minor progress, then you get frustrated. But when you start to see some progress, that's motivation. But some people need something else, like, I don't know, maybe they're going to be able to know what it's going to feel like to be able to put on a pair of, um, let's say, swim trunks and or a bathing suit and maybe not wear a shirt, and how that's going to feel at the beach. And they already can experience it, right? Now, we've talked about this before. When you want to manifest something, you feel first and you manifest second. So, gifts. We talked about gifts a lot last week. Let's talk about this week, which is rewards. What are some other kind of rewards you could have? Well, maybe a simple reward for you doing something simple. Maybe you give yourself a cup of coffee, right? Or a drink or a beverage. If Let's take another one. Let's say, for example, you have to, I don't know, you have to read a book for this class you're in college. And let's say each time you finish a chapter, you get to go to, I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts, or you get to have a great big smoothie. Okay. Or in that case, they usually have different types of things like culottes and stuff like that. So you get to have one of those for every chapter you finish. Each chapter is maybe 20 pages. You've got basically 10 or 12 chapters in the book. So that's going to motivate you. Now, let's say that you've gotten through the third chapter. Maybe when you get through half the book, not only do you get a smoothie, but maybe you get some other kind of treat as well. Maybe it's a donut or something else. So the idea with rewards is that when we can present a reward, it reinforces good behavior. We've learned this a lot with children many years ago, is that, a lot of times psychologists have told parents not to reinforce the bad behavior, but to enforce the good behavior. So what am I talking about? So a child does something that's not appropriate. Maybe the child interrupts or something like that. And so what would always happen is people would reward that behavior and give the child attention. Whereby if you ignore the child and now only reward him or her when they do something that's notable, they're going to realize that they're not getting your attention anymore. So that's how that works. And that's how reward works. And so when you reinforce great behavior, more great behavior is going to happen. Same thing happens in our lives, right? If you were working on, I don't know, let's say you're writing a book, and each chapter that you finish would give you a reward. That's pretty cool. Now, You might say to me, John, what's the motivation for doing something in life? Well, you got to come up with the reward that's going to make the most sense for you. Maybe you're going to get a degree and you're like, oh, that's a lot of work, but you need something to motivate you. Is motivation the fact that you're going to make more money? Is motivation the fact that you're going to be able to be your own boss now? What is that motivation? But it's still a reward. What are some other types of rewards you could have in your life? Let's just brainstorm that for a minute. So different, let's say different kinds of rewards we can give ourselves. Okay, let's think about that for just a moment. We said you could reward yourself with a cup of tea or coffee or something of that nature, right? Make sure that whatever you choose, so if you're on, let's say, a diet, and you might say, gee, if I don't know, lose 20 pounds, well, then I get to have a piece of chocolate cake. Be careful. Make sure that the reward is not going to combat it. So, for example, it might be that you get to have a treat, but that treat still needs to be within the normal parameters, okay, or in your normal daily allotment. You could do something fun, right? Going to a carnival or festival or art show. These are all rewards. Maybe go to an art gallery, go to a museum. Say you're going to spend a night out with friends, play pool, take a cooking, a pottery, or a photography class. Maybe go to the zoo, right? And so when we reward ourselves, the brain's like, huh, I got to do that again. Because now the brain is releasing dopamine. And we love the way we feel when we release this dopamine because we get this natural high. So body's like, oh, wow, this is really cool. I got to do more of this. I want to feel good just like this again, 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 again. And it's the greatest thing for you. So when you get addicted to do something that's going to help you achieve your goals, that's priceless. Let's talk about another goal. We're going to be talking about goals and rewards all week. So another reward that you could have is, let's say, you have this goal that you want to, we already talked about weight loss. Let's say you want to learn a new skill. Maybe it's a new language. And you might say, okay, when I learn this new language and I learn it well, I'm going to reward myself by taking a trip to that country. You see how this works? So our brain loves rewards. The problem is sometimes our rewards take us away from our goal and then we procrastinate. So what I want you to think about right now, ladies and gentlemen, is what kind of reward or what would motivate you to do a task? If it's your job, if it's playing with your kids, even though you like doing it, but what would motivate you to do it? Is there something? Or maybe you've got to go shopping. You don't like to go shopping. So what would be a reward if you go shopping? Well, if I go shopping and I get everything I need and I do that every week for a month, then maybe I get to take a day off or whatever it's going to be. You have to figure out what reward is going to work for you. So we're going to be talking about reward and rewards all week because I think they are paramount to helping us become better versions of ourselves and helping other people become better versions of themselves. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. Comment below what reward would motivate you to achieve your goal or goals. Think of a couple. And then tag your friends, your colleagues, and your associates. Share it out with everyone you know on all your social media platforms. And then go over to youtube.com, type in my name, John space E space Morley space serial entrepreneur, and look for the key phrase, help keep our content free. Below that, make the choice to buy my team and I a cup of coffee when you see the PayPal link. We'll be so grateful with those pennies and dollars. We'll invest into new hardware, new technology, new equipment, new software, new staff, and even new facilities to give you the most jaw-dropping motivational content. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already follow John C. Morley, Serial Entrepreneur page on LinkedIn. Make sure you do that because there's lots of great information that I push out there every single week. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your night. I'll be back Sunday. That is Super Bowl Sunday. Have you decided who you want to win the Super Bowl? So I'm actually going to see you after the Super Bowl game. But think about who you want to win and think about something you need to do maybe before the game and what's going to motivate you to do that. Now, I don't want something that's going to get you in trouble because that's negative. I don't want anything like that. I want something that's positive reinforcement. Because a lot of people, if you do this, you're going to get hit. If you do this, they're going to get yelled at. That's not good. We want a positive reinforce. Yes, you're being quiet, so you get a cookie. Yes, you're behaving, so you get to stay up later. You get my idea? Really important. Ladies and gentlemen, have yourself an amazing evening and even better day tomorrow. And I'll be back after the Super Bowl game to again talk about episode 2 and what reward will you give yourself. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone.